I didn't want to
Wait,
go
we're
into
live.
operation.
We're live. Tinet, we're live.
Oh,
I'm
really?
seeing it.
We're live now, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yun
there's
pala.
just
Okay.
the live.
We're live, Tinet.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. I see it.
Yep.
And we
We're
are
live.
live. Good evening. I'm so sorry, ladies and Lavi, for that technical glitch.
Problem.
And to all my friends who are watching, I do apologize for the delay. Mahirap talaga pag maraming crew di ba? Ang daming crew, di ba? Okay. Anyway, welcome to tonight's episode called Pursuing Miss Right. Okay, alam niyo ba mga kaibigan, bakit ito ang aking episode tonight? Kasi marami akong friends. I have a lot of friends, female friends, who have been asking me to hold a session like this, somehow to invite friends, men and women, and talk about why alpha females always have a problem or challenges finding Mr. Right. Syempre, I'm not the right person to answer this. So I invited a very good friend of mine. But before I introduce her, let me introduce first our panelists. Panel of parang para talagang to. Okay.
Parang dating game.
Oh.
Then,
Dating game. Okay. Our first guest is actually a director from the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, Mr. Jay Amatong. Hi, Jay.
hello, everyone.
Hello. Good evening. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me tonight.
Thank you. You're welcome. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. And our second guest, of course, is a managing partner and CFO of Whitehall Consulting Incorporated, Mr. Art Villones. Hello, Art.
Hey, hello.
Hi.
Good evening,
Hello
all.
there.
Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning.
Sa lahat, sa buong mundo.
Wherever you are.
Wherever you are.
in the world. Yes.
Right. Thank you, Art, for joining us tonight. And of course, the last but not the least, that he's a training director from Allianz PNB, Mr. Josel Gaston. Hello, Josel.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Tinet. I'm happy to be here. Excited to talk about how to pursue Miss Right. Not that I'm pursuing. I've already pursued mine.
But you once did.
I did.
And we can't wait to hear from you guys and learn from you how you guys did it, okay? And of course, eto na. Wala bang drum roll dyan? Okay? Our lady guest for tonight. Ano ba to? Parang search, Parang...
I know.
Okay. Our lady guest for tonight is actually the ultimate alpha female. All right. She's a she's a social civic leader. She's a super nerd nerd pero fun ha, in fairness. Okay. And of course, my very good friend, she's the CEO of Opus Adlucen, a training and development consultancy firm, just like Consult Asia Global. My good friend, Miss Lavinia, quote unquote, Lavi Peñaverde. Hello, Lavi. Palakpakan mo natin si Lavi.
Hi, Tinet. Hello, everyone. Hi, Jay, Josel, and Art. And thank you, Tinet, for having us. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Excited to have a chat with my friends and you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for making time tonight, Lavi. Alam mo ba bakit ikaw yung naisip ko tonight?
Hindi. Bakit nga ba?
Dahil
Ba't ako, Tinet?
ikaw ang best resource person. I'm gonna be grilling you with a lot of questions from my friends, okay? So ikaw ang bahala sumagot dyan. But before those questions, tanong muna kita, why did you, because guys, Josel, Art, and Jay are actually Lavi's friends, all right? And I just, I'm really privileged to have them here. So, ba't naman silang tatlo yung napili mo, Lavi?
Okay. When you toss the idea of having this discussion, yung sabi mo nga, from the male perspective naman, kasi diba, for the longest time, ladies, alpha females, I'm sure you ladies can relate, diba? Parang palaging, what's wrong with me? What should I do para lapitan naman ako ni Mr. Right? So, babalik na rin natin yung table ngayon. Let's hear it from them. And I have, friends na kilala ko personally ang mga asawa nila. Talagang, ito rin yung standard ng alpha female. So, I also wanted to find out, parang oo nga, no? Paano nga ba? And itong si Tinet already introduced our panelists. And tingnan nyo naman yung credential nila. Okay? So, let's also learn from them. No, it would be interesting to find out from the other perspective. Yeah. Ano nga ba hinahanap nila? At bakit nyo sila pinursue?
Wow, that's very interesting, Lavi. But before I continue, it's so ironic because our viewers right now, I have Jody Chalmers, my friend from Australia. So she's Australian. So I have Jim Hewling, my friend from the US. He's American. Okay. We have Doug Chamberlain, my friend from the US, also American. Paano ba yun? Nosebleed tayo lahat.
Okay, we have to speak in
nosebleed.
English.
Yeah, so and then so Jim says hello, wonderful conversation. Thanks, Jim. Jody says hi to Nat. Hi, Jody. And Doug is also watching with us. Luis Tamayo says, wow, sounds like an interesting conversation. Of course, Luis, this is very interesting. Okay. So with that, Lavi, do you want to pose the first question for our guests?
Yeah, because first off, I'm very interested. Okay, I'm very interested. Jay, Joselle, and Art, where did you meet your wives? Maybe you can tell us a brief, throwback of how and where did you meet your wife? Can we start with Jay? Jay, can we start with you? How did you meet Ruth?
Okay. My wife Ruth and I were part of this organization called JCI. We're both from Mindanao. I'm from Dipolog. She's from Cagayan de Oro, and one of those, JCI members. We travel a whole lot for training and socialization, networking, and such. So I met my wife. I believe I was training director at the time, and she was one of the trainees. And that was the first time that I met her. And I had a girlfriend at the time. But fast forward a couple of months after, my relationship didn't work out. And we found ourselves
In each other's arms.
Wow.
well, eventually, yes. It was a little more circuitous than that. I mean, things happen. It builds. So there you go. In a nutshell, basically that's it. There were many hurdles, but we overcame them.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
And JCI, by the way, stands for Junior Chamber International. In the good old days, we used to be known as the JC. So that's where Jay and Ruth met. But you know what, Jay? I always ask myself, I've been with the JCs for more than 2 decades. How come I didn't meet anyone? Okay, that's part
That's
that.
another question, but I think
I've been all over like you, Jay. Come on.
It's really timing. It's really timing.
Well, yeah. I would. Yes. I guess I would agree with that because we've been in the organization for quite a while, and I'm still active. And why? But okay, later we will park that, Jay. That's still a burning question in my mind. Joselle, although I know your love story, but inspire us. Where and how did you meet the beautiful Rovi?
Oh, story began March 25th, 2006 at 2 p.m. I was in a seminar in JCI headquarters, and the seminar was about project management. And at that moment, I realized that my first project was her. So that's what my mind was set to. That my friends had other ideas, had other projects in mind, but secretly, I had it in mind that she's going to be the first project that I'm going to undertake, which I did. After an hour, I said hi. She said hi back. And as they say, the rest is history.
So see another JCI love story. How come?
Oh, JC.
Another JC story. Okay, and we will go to the rest of the history, Joselle, later on.
Yeah.
Okay. Art, what about you? Of course, I know Renz now for quite some time already. Where and how did you meet Renz? Art.
Yeah, so mine is a bit interesting because I'm from the south, so I'm from Cebu. That's for those who were not familiar. So Cebu is in the central Philippines, and Renz is here in Manila. So I'm in Manila anyway. So she's from the north. I'm from the south. So I graduated kasi as a scholar, a Gokongwei scholar, and I had to serve. So one of the contribution, my return to the scholarship to the foundation was for me to serve for 2 years. So after graduating from university, I was hired to this Gokongwei company called familiar with, I forgot, the maker of Jack and Jill. And
Robina, University
Robina
of Robina.
Corporation.
See,
Yes,
I know.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm an engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer by education. So when I took the licensure exam and passed, so I was assigned to go to Manila to get trained for the power generation work, because that time Gokongwei was also buying the cement plant of which is in Cebu, and so I was employed in this another Gokongwei company, Litton Mills. It's a textile company, but they have their own power generation. And I actually met Trends because she was in HR. Again, I'm an engineer. She's an HR. One of my one of the things that I wanted to, and it's been my plot, and I got this from my dad anyway, is to be friends with an HR person. Because if there's any HR transaction that you have, like payroll questions, benefits, all these crazy things in HR, you have someone to connect with, right? So I took that advice. So the first time I went into their office, and I think Lavi friends told you. So people were amazed me getting inside their HR office because it's very air conditioned, and I came from the power plant division, so I smell oil and gas and everything. So people would really look at me. I would smell grease and everything, right? So people would look at me, but me, just wanted to get inside the office because it's cold and everything else. So I that's the first time I saw Renz, and of all the people looking at me, she's the only person who did not who didn't look at me anyway. So I was kind of curious. Oh wow. So that was kind of like the zing the zing thing. I don't know if you know that, but um so there were just coincidences, right? So going home, I get to meet her. Also, she going home herself, and I think that was the time. So I approached her and have a bit of a conversation, and that was the start of it. So we go home together, and and as Joselle said, history,
The rest is history.
The rest is
The rest is
history.
history.
the rest,
The rest is history. Wow.
yeah.
Wow. So,
Okay.
Lavi, you already have an idea how to meet your Mr. Right.
Yeah, so many ideas actually. I'm so confused what to implement. They're all concepts in my mind. And I
No,
have
Lavi,
friends.
because do you
What?
notice, if I may just interrupt,
Please.
Sure.
Yeah.
Giselle and I, we met our wives that we were trained nurse and our wives were trainees. This one is, so that might be something good for you. You might meet some.
Lavi.
So thank you for the word of encouragement, Jay. So I might meet him in one of my training sessions. Who knows?
Or
Okay,
in a
okay.
conference, we'll
In a
never know.
conference, yeah.
A convention.
Lavi, I have a question for the
Please,
gentleman.
go ahead.
Kasi nga, what really pushed me to do this episode is because a lot of my female friends were telling me that some men would actually get intimidated by them. They get intimidated by alpha females. Now, how true is this in your case? Were you actually intimidated by your wives at the onset, at the beginning? Or was that like, did you find that easily, attractive, or was that something that threatened you?
That's a good
Giselle, you
question.
understand?
So,
Yeah, I think that's a good question because in my case,
Mhm.
my wife she's a stunner. To this day, she is. And the first time I saw her,
Mhm.
a friend of mine was with me and he said, "Pare, sara mo yung bibig mo kasi my mouth was wide open. Sara mo yung bibig mo, nakakahiya ka." I mean, in English, close your mouth. You're embarrassing
Yeah.
yourself. So I did, but it took a couple of minutes for me to muster that confidence and say hi. So
Wow.
that in itself was intimidation because
Mhm.
everyone was looking at her.
Yeah.
And to me, and I think most people in that room share my opinion, she's the prettiest. She could light up that room. And she did light up that room.
Mhm.
Amazing. So
Wow,
I was
that's
intimidated.
nice.
That's a quick answer to the question.
Right. So it's true. It's real. This
It is.
intimidation thing is real.
It
Wow, Joseph,
is.
that's good to know.
But there is a way to that. There's a way to mitigate that intimidation. I
Mhm.
just heard you say Jim Hewling is listening right now.
Yes, he's my very good friend.
I'm a big fan if it's the same Jim Hewling of Four
Of course,
Disciplines
for
of
DX,
Execution.
yeah, of course.
My God, I'm the one who's
Oh, wait,
starstruck
I'm
right
gonna
now if
text him
Jim
now. I'm gonna
Hewling is
text him now. I'm
listening
gonna
to
text
me.
him now. Hang on.
I'm starstruck. Everyone, you know what
He
Four
was
Disciplines of
he was
It's like,
he I
yeah,
had a one-on-one live with him on my birthday. If you guys have the chance to go back, if you can check my page,
I
my
might just
Director
look
Desk page,
that
yeah,
up.
yeah, you
I
can just go
will.
down. July 16, that was my birthday, and we had a lovely conversation. I mean, wow, guys, really, Jim Hewling, he's like, I'm gonna text him now. Hold on,
Big
just
fan
carry
right
on.
here.
Okay,
Jim, big fan.
yeah,
So
just a
why
second.
did I mention Jim Hewling? I just wanted to say that I applied the Four
For
Disciplines of
DX,
Execution
oh nice. Woo.
to court her. She was the widely important goal,
Okay.
and I wanted the activities to have a lead activity, and there's
Mhm.
measures that I would know if she liked me back,
Yeah.
and there should be some cadence to and consistency to the way I communicated with her, and the way I had dates with her.
Yeah. Okay.
Big fan.
So I have actually just messaged him. I said, Josel, I said that that you are actually applying the 4DX
I
principles.
am.
So wow, amazing. Okay, so Lavi, can you do the same? Applying the 4DX principles.
Yes. Tell me the framework, I'll apply it.
Oh my god. Okay, just a second. Okay, what about the others? What about Art and Jim? Just curious. Thank you for that, Josel. Okay.
You're welcome.
We'll wait to hear from Jim. So what about Art and Jay? Did you guys get intimidated by your wives?
Um,
Uh,
you
Go
wanna
ahead.
go?
Yeah,
Yeah,
siguro.
because
Yeah,
because my experience is sort of like Giselle, like I mentioned. I was a trainer and my wife was a trainee. And you have to get used, let's face it, when you're the trainer and there's a tendency for some of your trainees to fawn over you and all that, right? I mean, let's face it. And she was one of those who did it. And there's a certain amount of dignity in that. It wasn't intimidation per se, but because she acted differently, she wasn't falling at your feet and all that.
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of mystique attached to it. So that's
Mhm.
intriguing for me.
Yeah.
And well, although that was the time that I was not looking for anything romantic because I was in a relationship.
Right.
The next time I met her, it was a social occasion,
Mhm.
and it was, yeah, she remembers me because I had trained before. But again, there's always that aloofness that was intriguing,
Mhm.
which I suppose alpha women, alpha females have. It's that confidence in themselves that they don't have to be anyone's fan or anything like that. So that's what I found intriguing when I met my wife.
Oh wow. So now we have two eyes, Lavi. We have intimidating and intriguing.
Yes.
Should we come up with a three-eye framework here? Okay.
Yes.
Well done. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jay. And before we hear out Art's answer, Josel, Jim says, thank you so much for talking about 4DX.
Oh my
So he
God,
just
Jim.
replied. he
Just
posted his comment on my page, so you guys can look at it later.
Oh my God, just hearing it. Starstruck.
Okay.
Big fan here.
All right. Thank you, Josel. Okay, Art, what about you?
Well, for me, I think I would say not at all. I never kind of found my wife to be intimidating,
Intimidating.
but I found her to be a lot more interesting actually.
Wow.
So now there's a
Eye,
third
that's the
eye.
third eye. There.
That's the third eye. Interesting.
There you go.
Yeah,
The
and I think
third
because
eye, literally the third eye here.
Yeah.
I think because she for me I find her I like I like her or I love her authenticity actually. So what you see is what you get. I don't need to second guess I because like me as a technical person, I just wanna go straight. She tells me if she wants something, then I give it to her. You know what I'm saying? So as I would really consider her as an alpha female in a way because she has the propensity to balance all everything in her life. She is able to carry. When we were dating, she's able to carry her. 'Cause she was also doing her masters at that time. I was doing my studies as well, and there's this certain kind of um, interesting. I would repeat that again. Interesting outlook on her, on how she is able to balance off. And I was able to see that upfront, and
Mhm.
again that I found very interesting from my end, and which really kind of like attracted me to her persona. So yeah.
Oh, that is so nice. Okay, so Lavi, intimidating,
Intriguing.
intriguing,
Intriguing.
and
Interesting.
Interesting.
Wow, the
You know
three
what?
eyes, guys.
You
If
know what,
you're
Tinette?
watching the three eyes. Okay, yes, loves.
Just listening to them, thank you, gentlemen, for debunking the myth that we should, we should be submissive because that's what
I
I've,
know.
I've been hearing that, Lavi, for you to, for the males to be able to reach out to you, you should tone down your strong personality, your assertiveness. So thank you for debunking that
Can
myth.
I just say something about that, Lavi?
Go ahead,
Because
please.
Go,
Jen.
go.
It doesn't really interest me to have someone who just does what you ask them to do. Who
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm, mm.
it's not interesting. I need someone who knows what she wants, will do everything to get it, and if I'm there or I'm not, she will. Yeah, I mean that there's sexiness in that. Really,
Yeah.
it's just not interesting that sit and sit. I mean, I would rather have a pet,
Sit,
right?
stay. Sit.
So
Exactly.
it's not. I like
Get a pet.
discussions. I can be wrong because I'm quite hard-headed myself. So I need someone who will tell me that you're wrong, I'm right. So there's a discussion ongoing. It's not gonna be a heated, but sometimes.
Yeah.
But
And
you know,
I would agree. I would agree. There's a false notion where men tend to gravitate towards women who are submissive, which isn't
Mhm.
really well. There could be about probably I would say 20 to 30% of
Mhm.
males would like that, right? It depends on the on the preference. But
Mhm.
I would say there's still a lot of percentage of men who would like to have a partner because we're talking about a process here.
yeah,
It's a
exactly.
long-term process. Somebody
Yeah.
you can actually share yourself with, someone who can not intimidate you, but interact with you in a way where she doesn't have to agree all the time. She
Mhm.
has her own perspective. You
Yeah.
can, you like you tend to have that certain level of argument,
Mhm.
that it's a fun kind of argument, like politics or anything.
Yeah.
What to eat, as small as what to eat, or as high as I don't like the president now. Still, that
Yeah.
kind of person who you can actually relate to. So I think that's
I'd say yes.
Mhm.
Because in our marriage, I always have the last say. Yeah, I
Mhm.
have the last say, and it's always yes, dear.
Oh,
So there you go.
oh my God.
Happy
Okay.
wife, happy life. That's what they say.
Exactly. I was just about to
true,
say
true.
that. Well, nicely
No,
said.
but it's that interaction is always very
Yeah.
That's
nice.
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
she might come out. She might be correct, or I might be correct. But it's
Mhm.
that dynamic that makes it a whole lot interesting.
In other words, what you gentlemen are saying is that you have to be intellectually stimulated as well. So a pretty
Oh.
face is not enough, right?
Definitely.
So definitely she should be able to engage in a conversation. And if
Yeah.
you take her out with your friends, at least she can, she can
Yes,
engage
she
in
can mingle
conversation.
with the rest of
And
them.
she's not just like a flower vase
Nope.
seated beside
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
trying to, yeah.
The
Trophy
brain,
wife.
the brain is the sexiest organ.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It
Okay.
is.
True.
Mhm.
So Miss Peñaverde, what can you say about that?
There's still hope. There's still hope. There's still a lot of no, because honestly, I mean, it's different speaking on our side because you say it, you guys are like what I said. That's why I'm excited for this discussion because it's different. Like in my shoes, or maybe also internet shoes. Like Jay was saying, he was the trainer of Ruth, the wife. But see, turn it around. If we are the trainer, I'm a woman, and then you're a student.
That is so
The
true.
perspective
It's
somehow
different.
it's different. I
It's
don't know.
different.
It's different when there's a lady trainer, and she can be very powerful and assertive on the floor. Sometimes it's kind of challenging. It's kind of difficult also to have that personality. So I don't know. Maybe again, it's just a matter of perspective.
But have you
That-
actually, sorry Lavi, sorry, but have you
Yeah.
experienced it when you were training and then one of your participants showed some interest in you? Have you ever experienced that before?
the thing, Tinette, is that maybe I'm too
Eee, it's
effective.
a juicy
No.
question.
I'm too effective. I'm too effective in my role as a trainer that they really see me as a trainer.
As a trainer. So there's
Maybe
that
I don't know.
respect.
There's
and
that you're there and I'm your student. I don't know. Maybe I am too effective in that respect. So at the see, I'm recalling right now. Maybe not my student, but a client. Yes.
Ay! Not a student, but a client.
Client. No, but
Okay.
kidding. No, kidding. See, so that's also my dilemma, and I'm sure Tinette also finds herself in that position. That it's different
Well,
when you're. Yeah.
Our difference, the big difference between you and me is because you are such a great leader. You know what I mean? Like when I do my training, I remember I did a training for like, I think it's 100% male, like all engineers, right? And then at the end of the session, I was like, okay, gentlemen, are there questions? And then somebody at the back of the room raised his hand and I said, yes, sir. And he said, are you single? and I'm like, I was really, that was the most difficult question I had to answer.
Yeah.
And I don't
How did you
really
answer it?
Yes,
You
I
can
was
be
about to ask
flirty,
that. Thank you,
I
Art.
don't, you know what? I don't even
It's a
remember.
certain-
I had a panic attack at that time.
Oh my
No, I'm just kidding. But I didn't.
Now, how did you feel about that
Yeah,
question?
yeah.
I mean, were you insulted? Were you
Yeah.
flattered?
Yeah.
It depends on how you're gonna take it. For me, I didn't take it as an insult. I didn't. Definitely not, because the question wasn't malicious. It didn't sound malicious.
Mhm.
No, I think he was just we it was a 3-day workshop, so we were very engaged with each other already. We were kind of close. We would have lunch together as a team, so it wasn't like, it wasn't an out of this world.
blue and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he was just trying to, lighten up the whole mood because we were ending the session already. And I remember my answer. I said, do you seriously want to receive your certificate?
That was intimidating.
Yeah. I think that was my answer. That was years back there. So that was about the only time. The rest, I haven't really, I don't think any of my participants, ever showed interest, probably because they're all married, I think. What about you, Lavi? I mean, aside from your clients, how do you, I mean, what's your network like right now? Because you are very, very out there. You're such an expert.
Accomplished.
Yeah.
See, that's sometimes I'm beginning to question, and I'm very open about this. Is being accomplished or being an achiever, is it a curse? Is it a point against me that I've accomplished so much, that gentlemen are like before the social distancing, they're like 2 kilometers away already because of all these things. So whenever I'm in a social function, I try my best not to introduce myself as the usual corporate introduction. But somehow, guys, you know me, maybe because you're my friends, you know, maybe how I come across also that I'm a big lady, by the way. You know, I'm not the typical petite. No, I'm not that. No. So maybe also because of my physique that I'm voluptuous, yes.
Ooh.
Love that word,
You know,
yes.
I'm not the typical,
Bababoom.
you know, I'm not the typical petite. No, I'm not that. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it adds to that. It adds to the intimidation. So, and then of course, how I come across also, I tend to be assertive and really confident about myself. So sometimes I really have to, you know, remind myself, Lavi, you should be feminine. Because maybe because I'm so comfortable under my own skin that I'm not really conscious. You know, whoever you are, this is me. This is me. So I'm not really that conscious of, you know, how I behave.
So
I
this
don't
is
know.
this is the typical. She's the epitome of an alpha female, guys. So if you guys are watching and you're thinking, "What's an alpha female?" That's Lavi for sure.
Can you just contribute to that? Because I've known Lavi for quite some time. And, you know, she's very accomplished. She's very professional when the situation is a professional situation, sure. But she's also very sweet. And, you know, you don't have to be uber feminine to attract the attention
Yeah,
of men.
That's right.
right.
And I think seriously that it takes a very confident man to come to you and talk
There you
about
go.
other things.
Exactly.
I don't think you'll be happy with anyone who's not confident
Yeah.
because
True.
you know you may put up the act that I'm a wallflower, I'm feminine and all that.
Yeah.
But you know you can only be true to yourself,
Mhm.
right? At some point, you're, the accomplished, confident woman that you are is gonna come out. So it's pointless to be pretending that you're not. So what you really need is someone who has the confidence to come to you and make that offer.
Yeah.
That's what
And I think, yeah, maybe just to add to that, because you have the, you know, there's already the act of, you know, approaching Lavi, and I think there has to be that moment where Lavi has to make that person feel psychologically safe. You know, that kind of that psychological safety where now I'm able to, would I be able to penetrate on Lavi's, you know, sweetness, cuteness, the way that you mentioned, Jay, because she is actually, you know, that can. So there's this part where there's a cultural component of it, right? And I think maybe that's partly off of your head, you know, that like I have to be approached by a man, then I would be like, you know, I could probably open up and, you know, like I said, that psychological safety, or you can actually approach a man. I remember, and I just wanna, I think, mention this, like with my wife, there were instances where we have arguments, and that's fine. Like you argue, and then you kind of like, you know, you fight, you squabble a little. And what she does, you know, because she's an alpha female, and when she finds that my feeling is hurt, you know, or during then pala, my feelings were hurt. She would go to me and give me flowers. That's the weird part.
Wow.
She gave me flowers.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
she even, there was one time because I lived kind of far north in Novaliches, that's northern part, and she's in the central part of Manila, right? She even took a bus ride just to give me the flowers. That's how interesting I found. So she found the time to really extend herself out of her way just to make me feel that, you know, that she had that sense that, you know, maybe she got way too far, where, you know, I'm not much of an emotional person. I don't get hurt as an engineer, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not much of an emotional person anyway. But she had that notion that I was probably hurt. You know, something that I don't you know, what do you call this? I don't shout back or something like that. I sulk, actually. You know, I sulk. So I do I don't speak much anyway. So she will already have that sense that there's something going on, something going wrong. So she extends herself. So, you know, take that barrier off, you know, take that, like, woman, there's a man woman thing. It's a duty of a man to do this. It's a responsibility.
Yeah.
and my as a woman I have to wait. No, you don't. You don't have to. Just
Yeah.
we're at equal footing here. If you think that you like a person, and again, even Renz, so my wife even went to Cebu.
Mhm.
She didn't ask permission from her parents. She went there as early as 6 in the morning and flies back to Manila as late as 8 in the evening just to see me. So that was how I found her very interesting. And I think
Mhm.
I found, that person who I could say, I could probably, so, so that's probably my story, my kind of
Really
contribution to
nice.
that
That's really, really
conversation, love.
nice. No, thank you for sharing, Art. Just a quick question, and this is for everybody. Because a lot of people say that, let's say there's an intimidating lady or an alpha female. They always like Lavi, for instance. I'm sure you get this a lot. You know what? You need to find a foreign partner because Filipinos will never be able to deal with you. I mean, I don't know how often you hear that, but I hear that a lot. And I'm like, why? What's wrong with Filipino men? So maybe, gentlemen, you can enlighten me on this. What is it about the Filipino men that, because for me, Filipino men are very sweet, very handsome, right? Why wouldn't they want somebody like Lavi, who's an alpha female, for example? Why does it have to be a foreigner? I mean, does that really have something to do with the nationality, gentlemen?
Or
Well,
maybe Giselle has a
yeah.
take on that. Go ahead,
Oh,
Giselle.
Giselle, yeah. He has a globe,
foreigners
by the way, in his background, so he can give us a global
Yeah.
perspective.
perspective.
Yeah,
Well, I think it's regardless of race, creed,
exactly.
culture,
Mhm.
and the cliche would go. It doesn't matter, black or white,
Yeah.
beige or red or
Mhm.
yellow.
Mhm.
It's really about the conversations that you will have. I'll
Right.
make it as basic as that. Uh, I think it was raised just a while ago how sometimes intimidating a person could be, especially if you're like Tinette and Lavi, you're both trainers. So the level of intellectual play is really up there. Now, if that gentleman that you're, say, for example, looking at you, that is trying to have get your attention, then they would have to go to that level. However, there are Filipinos, and most Filipinos don't realize this, that they're good conversationalists.
Mhm.
But it's true that when males converse with each other, it's usually, "Have you done it? Yes. How are you? Fine." It's short. It's
Mhm.
we mastered the art of brevity. But
Yeah.
then again, with ladies, it's more conversational. The gentleman ought to learn. It's not really you. I think it's the gentleman in the Philippines or Filipinos for that matter, since we're saying it's not really about color. Filipinos need to listen more because it's in the listening that you get to learn about that person. Case in point, we were talking about like tempers that would flare or arguments that would come up. I'm married to an Ilongga from
Mm.
Iloilo. So there's a challenge. Alam to ni Jay. There's a challenge
Yeah,
that
yeah.
find out whether galit na ba siya or natutuwa siya or happy siya because it all sounds the same.
Malambing. Malambing.
Malambing.
Yeah.
But because of the years that we've been married with three minions already, I would think if she gets quiet, she keeps quiet. If she's suddenly quiet, then that's it. I get scared already. So it's about the listening.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and most of the time, listening is not just through the ears, it's really through here.
Yeah.
So,
True.
yeah. So,
Very true.
regardless of creed, color, or culture, I don't think it's really about foreigners. If you have a foreigner in mind, Lavi, di ba? Doesn't matter.
Lavi, what can you say about
Wala
that?
nga eh. I need recommendations and referrals. It's open.
No, but
Conversations
No.
talaga. And knowing
Yeah.
Lavi,
mhm.
she's not very hard to please with conversation.
No.
She
She's
can
actually
be,
nice. She's
yeah,
a
she is. She can be very intellectual.
agree.
You can be very bakya, Lavi. And you know that,
Yeah.
right? In a
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
way.
Yes.
We have,
Yes. Yes.
I'm, I'm such a straight guy, but I hear a lot of Becky words from you, and I learned it from you also. And I enjoy it.
Yes.
And you know what people ought to know about Lavi is they should explore it.
Mm-hmm.
The gentlemen, please do not challenge Lavi to a singing match.
Patay kayo.
To a what? Sorry, I lost you,
Singing.
Giselle.
To
Ah,
us,
singing. Oh my
or even to a
gosh.
duet, because you will. That's where the intimidation will come in.
Yeah.
But if you're a good listener, gentlemen, if you're a good listener, you listen to her. Man, that's something there.
Lavi, that reminds me of someone.
Who?
Remember the
Later,
singing?
Meron
offline.
pala,
Yeah, yeah.
meron.
Oo.
See?
Ako ang matchmaker niyan eh. Si
Oo nga.
Lavi. Diba? Yeah, so no, thank you for that, Josel. No, so I agree. No, na it's really sa heart, diba? It doesn't really matter what skin color you have. I mean, it's really, But again, you guys are a rare species, the three of you,
Yeah,
right?
agree.
No,
Agree.
seriously.
Really?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, because
No,
Yeah.
There are a lot of
my thinking is most people would think kasi that Filipino men want a woman who will stay at home, take care of the kids and all that. But I think that's changing. That's a stereotype also.
Mhm.
So I think that's changing now. It's not the expectation of men in this day and age to have the diba, for practicality na lang,
Mhm.
to have your wife stay at home and
Yeah.
just you all be housewife. That's
Mhm.
not practical. You have to have someone who can carry her own weight. And
Yeah.
I think more and more men are looking for someone like that.
Mhm.
Diba?
Well, what do you think of
So
that,
I
Lavi?
really don't think.
What Jay was saying?
Regarding that now
It's
it's changing,
changing,
it's
yeah.
evolving.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah, but still it's still a minority, Jay. I think it's still yeah, but I think it's evolving already because now there's already the acceptance that the wives can be the breadwinners. I know a number of
Mhm.
friends of mine who
Oh,
are
yes.
the breadwinners are the wives,
Yeah.
and the husbands are the ones staying at home, being with the kids. And I mean, it's fine. The relationship is they've been married for quite a long time. So yeah, so I think it's really just a matter of accepting the setup and accepting
Yeah.
who you are, who you will bring into the partnership. So yes, I think it's slowly evolving to that setup already at home.
Mhm.
And to add to that, actually, parang kasi the gender roles at this time are turning. They're in. It's turning. It's
Mhm.
really changing. That
Mm.
before, that you have to stroke the man's ego and you have to be the submissive wife. But really, it's just really basic human interaction and the conversation that Giselle was saying.
Mhm.
If you interact well with that person, that of course you give when you're wrong, you say you're sorry. It's not about because he's a man, he's always right. It's not like that.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
really basic human interaction. When you're right, then you're right. When he's wrong, then he's wrong. It's
Yeah.
diba?
True.
Whether it's a man or a woman, it's just
That's true.
basic
Yeah.
common decency and
Mhm.
open-mindedness, I guess.
Well, that is so true, Lavi, right? Actually, I was gonna ask the gentleman before I post another question for you, Lavi. So there's this notion that men should be pursuing the woman, a man should be pursuing the woman, and not the other way around. How do you feel about that? That you like the
Pursuing.
chase, like you like the chase. You don't want
Let
a
Art
woman.
answer that.
What do you think? Do
Go,
you
Yeah.
guys
Art.
get
Well.
turned off? Do you guys get turned off when, let's say, a woman starts calling you or
Yeah.
texting you? Because these days, just to share with you, I have a 17-year-old daughter, right? And in her generation, Gen Z, sorry, boys these days, they don't like it when the girls text them. They think
Mm.
that they're easy, okay? At least in her generation, right? So when a girl keeps texting the guy, they get annoyed because probably because of social media and
Mm.
but what about in our back in the day? What was it like? I mean, did you feel the same way that okay, the woman should not be pursuing me, I should be the one chasing her and putting in the effort?
Well, the funny thing
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
yeah, the funny thing is, as I mentioned, we are of equal footing, and for me, there's no problem in any way whatsoever for either a man or a woman to pursue one over the other. Um, even for me, there's even that certain killing factor if a woman would even you're fighting for my
Lovey.
Kilig
like,
factor.
the,
Okay.
the, uh, there is that sense where again because I'm so most of my life I've been with I would say I was in a boys school, engineering a lot of, so I'm more in a company of male compatriots and everything. So there is this kind of like missing component where when there's an unusual thing that happens to, like in my
Mhm.
case, in that instance where there's this feeling of you feel something special, if like if a woman would go or ask about something, or like
Mhm.
Renz is here, so I didn't want to she can see.
I'm guessing, Art, because you're looking at your back. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, so those small kind of moments when she kind of extends herself,
Mhm.
makes it a bit more appealing in a way.
Mhm.
Because well, to be honest, so she's my seventh girlfriend before I got married. Before I got hitched, she was my seventh girlfriend. So I had I had several comparisons that I could like look into and say, this is probably the right person for me to spend for the rest of my life. So there, she's actually right.
hi,
So I
Renz.
tried to be careful.
Okay.
Okay, she just went inside the room. Okay, so she left. So I had comparisons anyway. So and
You're
of
dead
that,
tonight.
This is recorded, by the way.
Yeah.
I know.
Are
It's
we gonna
streaming on
repeat
FB
that
Live,
what you just
Art.
said over
oh
and
my
over?
god. So yeah. So I
Okay.
think for at this age and time, and again depends on the culture and the
Mhm.
generational differences. But I would say it's a process, right? So the act of say pursuing is just the first step,
Mhm.
and when
Mm.
when
Mhm.
when you are able to get that person, a man would be able to get the lady. It's just the start of it, because there's a lot of things that needs to happen. So that kind of the default moment where you're able to sense what the
Mhm.
other person is, and then you can respond to it, even just with a wink and an eye, or
Yeah.
just being silent. You would already be able to respond to that person.
Mhm.
There is that certain process that you have to be ready to accept, and it's not going to be rainbows and butterflies. That process I mentioned, it's a whole lot of ebbs and flows, and then you're able to filter, you become the best version of yourselves because of those small moments, that sense of that special feeling that I get from Renz when she kind of like extends herself, and me as well,
Mhm.
the way I extend to her
Let me
her
help you
needs as
out,
well.
Art. Let me help you out.
Yeah.
Because I know
It's
I
difficult
can
to
I can
explain.
feel the
It's a
pressure
difficult question.
from the ambience in that room. Let me help you out. There's always there's something to be said about the thrill of the chase, whether
Mm.
you're a man
Correct.
or a woman,
Mhm.
right? So there are times that the man would like to chase. But
Mhm.
it's also nice when it's the woman who does the chasing. The thing is, you just have to, like Art said, that probably you can do both. not all the time do the chasing. Nakakapagod din yun, di ba? To be
Oo.
doing the chasing and getting nothing in return. So sometimes
True.
the woman doing the little chasing is always also nice.
Yeah.
So, you know, weigh the
Oh.
situation.
I
Yeah, that's
agree.
good.
For
That's good.
some gentlemen, it's about the chase.
Mm-hmm.
But for indulge me a bit, because the way I see it, this is a little bit more anthropological,
Mm-hmm.
where it's not a chase, it's a dance.
Mm-hmm.
That dance is her
Yes.
dance and my dance. I
Yeah.
remember that dance that we had was not in a dance hall, but in a videoke room.
Mm-hmm.
She apparently loved singing Disney songs. And
Mm.
secretly, I loved Disney songs. So nobody knew that, but I secretly sang Disney songs in the shower when I'm alone, and she sang Under the Sea. I duetted with her, and it's not about me chasing her, making pa cute all night that night, but that duet started everything when I said, no, uh, you Under the Sea, when we were already in the refrain. That's it. And we were talking all night after that song. It's a dance,
Ah,
not a chase. I mean, for some people, I agree.
nice.
It could be a chase, but for me, it's a
Mm-hmm.
dance.
Yeah,
You dance together.
right.
Because kasi, forgive me, gentlemen, if it's a chase, or for some gentlemen who
Mm-hmm.
think it's a chase,
Mm-hmm.
it's you chasing or you being chased. Parang, di ba? It's, to me, it's not predatory. It's
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah.
dance. Yeah.
Mm.
It's symbiotic.
It is. It is. There
Rare
you go.
species nga. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that, gentlemen. But before we continue, I would just like to say hi to some of our viewers. From Elma Antonana says, hello, Ma'am Tinette. We have Jamela Santos. She say, I'm all ears.
Hi, Jam.
So
Jam.
Jam is with us.
I know Jam.
Hi,
Hello,
Jam.
Jam.
Yes, and then Jezel Andy Guzman says hello, good evening. We have viewers from Singapore. Elma's watching from Singapore, and Jim Hewling says, "I'm a number one fan of Tinette Cortez." Whoa! No, seriously, Jocel, you have to watch that episode on my birthday with Jim. It was absolutely amazing. I
I
mean,
will watch
wow.
that. Definitely.
I broke into tears because live, can you imagine? Because it was so it was overwhelming. So anyway, so Lavi, I'm gonna ask you this question. What
Okay,
turns you
game.
off? What turns you off?
What turns me off? Indecisiveness. Because I'm so
Okay.
sure of everything in my life. So I don't want to
Mhm.
deal with, I don't want to deal with someone who is still not sure of what he wants in his life.
Mhm.
So that for me is very important. And one thing also that is very important to me is emotional maturity. I'm very
Mhm.
big on that, because I need a partner. I need a partner in life.
Mhm.
Honestly, I'm okay with how things are right now in my life. If I find someone, a Mr. Right, that would be a big bonus. But if there is someone who's going to come into my life, I hope he will add value to my life. And see, this is the challenge as I'm listening to the three gentlemen, because as you get as you get a bit older, things are somehow your criteria becomes a bit more challenging because
Mm.
you're at that stage already that there's a lot of things that are non-negotiables for you. Okay, because you're already at that stage, diba? So that's also where it gets tricky on my part. So as I was listening to the gentlemen, because they met their wives at the time that uh, they're actively, but there's a phase no, na you're really seeking for a partner. I don't know what was I doing. What was I doing at that time? Maybe I was sleeping, so I was behind. I did join the chase or the whatever you call it, the dance. I was busy with other stuff. So I'm a late bloomer. It's only now that maybe yun nga because things are a bit settled already in my life, and it wouldn't hurt, if I will have a companion, if I will have a partner. So that's what I'm looking for. Someone who would really have that emotional maturity, just to be with me. through everything that we will be going on or going through life together. So that would be that would be something like what I said. That would be a bonus in my at this point in my life. At this point in my life, that would be a big bonus. If I will have a partner, a companion in life, because as you get older, diba, we're all social beings kasi. So we're all social beings. So you also need, and I only realized this very recently, you really need pala that someone, a partner, to grow old with. So I guess that's where I am right now. But like what I said, if I'm going to find him or if I'm going to find each other, we should add value to each other.
But
Yeah.
Lavi, if I may just share this. The other day, I was messaging Lavi. I said, "Hi, Lavi. I asked you something, right?" And then I said,
Yeah.
How do you intend to?" I asked her something about Mr. Right, and then she said, "Tanet, I'm in between webinars right now." And then I have to go. And my reply to her was, "Is this how you're gonna make time for Mr. Right?" So I suppose I don't know what you gentlemen feel or think, but I think you also need to open that a space in your life, because you're all work, my dear. You're all work. I mean, this girl is a workaholic. Like she never stops. So I guess you just need some time for socializing, or
So give us tips. How do you socialize at this point in time, especially with COVID and all?
how
No,
do
but
you
I made time.
socialize? You're
In fairness to
such a
myself, I will make time. What social dating site?
Get a
Let me think about
matchmaker.
that. I have my friends. I was supposed to say that, Art, because I have nothing against dating sites, but
Yeah.
I'd rather
Yeah.
have like my friends Art, Joselle, and Jay have someone. Lavi, I want you to meet this person, because they know I would know that I'm dealing with the real man.
Mhm.
It's not that it's so scary. Again, I have
Mhm.
nothing against social dating sites, but
Yeah.
at this point in my life, I do not have the luxury of time to go through 1,000 pictures, swipe right, swipe left. I don't have the luxury of time. So if my dear friends would help me, yes, that's a call for help.
No, I'm
You mentioned
fascinated.
numbers. You mentioned
What?
numbers, Lavi. 1,000. As
Yeah.
we say in sales, remember, we both of us were sales trainers once
Yeah.
for the insurance industry. It's actually 10,751.
I
The
know,
ratio.
I know.
It's still a numbers
Yeah.
game.
That's right.
Still a
The
numbers
closing
game at this
rate,
point.
yeah.
There you
The
go.
closing rate,
Right.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's
That's
nothing wrong with the
interesting.
social dating sites. I've known many friends
Yeah.
who have met their life partners online,
Mm-hmm.
and there are
Mm-hmm.
plenty
Mm-hmm.
of good people online.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
there
That's
are
true.
a
And
There
few
are.
sometimes
friends
you'll
here
never
and
know. You're
there.
probably seated beside that person in the plane or something. You don't know,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But I
Exactly.
think the thing is, Lab, you just can't be too busy all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You need
Agree.
to learn to relax a little. Not necessarily to relax to look for a partner, but to
Mhm.
have some time that if someone comes along and asks you out, then you can't be saying, I can't, I have a webinar. You have to slow down a bit, I guess. Is that right?
Yeah.
Jeanette? Do you
Yeah.
Yeah,
agree to
that's
that?
true. That's
Agree.
true. So let's just say, just a helpful tip. Nox parang expert no? But this works, okay? Because like I learned it the hard way. Every time I'd get calls, let's say text messages from some guy, Nox, some guy. What are you doing? And I'm like, I'm preparing for a webinar. And then it's like, wala, parang talagang boom,
Yeah.
turned
Top
off, right?
conversation na yun eh.
Yeah, it's like they get this impression that, oh no, I'm again disturbing her, or I'm
Yeah.
I don't, that's not my
Exactly.
world. So what I do, even if I'm super busy, and then somebody texts me, how are you? I'm like, I'm good, I'm chilling, max. So, di ba? It works. Tapos magkakaroon na kayo ng magandang conversation.
Yeah, yeah,
That works.
and you can throw back the question and say, "You, how about you?"
Thinking of you.
Because
Yung
if
mga
you
sagot
ask,
ganun.
Pinaply mo
pwede
yan
rin.
ah.
Oh my
Because
God.
if you ask,
Okay.
Oh
if
my
you
God.
ask questions that are answerable by yes or no lang, it stops the conversation.
Dapat
Yeah.
open-ended
Yeah.
Yeah.
question.
Open-ended. Yes.
Mga
Open-ended.
Trainers
trainers
in the
talaga to.
house.
Mga
Ah,
trainers
Oo, di
talaga.
ba?
exactly.
Trainers talaga.
That's right.
And,
Okay.
and you add a certain flirtiness out of that response. I don't like put an emoji there, like
Yeah, an emoji.
a
Yeah.
smiley. I'm
A wink,
cool. I'm
wink.
chilling. Yeah, wink, wink.
You should.
So
You mean Art? You should
Oh.
put an emoji. Is that what you're saying? Put an
yeah,
emoji.
an
Or
emoji,
Lavi,
whatever.
put an
It's
emoji.
playful eh. An emoji is playful.
It is.
I
Pero
think
dapat
it
wag yung
Mm.
gano'n,
says,
wag yung muscles. Baka
Oh,
naman,
that.
dapat feminine daw, ganyan. O, Lavi, tip na yan ha. Magpa-practice
Yes,
tayo
noted,
later.
noted, noted.
Okay, we have a
Parang-
message here. Sorry, gentlemen. From Elma. She says, "Hello to all the handsome gentlemen."
Oh,
Wow.
hello
Nabibighani
to.
si Miss Elma. Hello, Miss Elma. She's in Singapore. Ayan.
You're the second person who called me handsome. First one is my mother.
And
My wife
then,
sometimes.
and then Miss Merlinda de la Cruz says, "Hi, Miss Tonette and everyone." Ayan. Sino po ba? We have some. Okay, that's it. So, Lavi, ikaw naman, you were gonna ask some questions, di ba, for the gentlemen?
Yeah.
Mm.
My so no, so they were attracted with their partners. Ako, my question is, what was the thing that made you decide to marry your wives, and how is it being married to an alpha female? Diba, there's
That's a good
like
one.
a deciding factor eh. O sige, girlfriend yun na siya.
Mm.
But what was it that made you decide to marry her? And how is it? How is it now being married to an alpha female?
Yeah, I'll probably start. So it's an evolution. It's not static. That the moment you met her, the moment you decided to get married, and the moment when you have kids, and at this moment, those definitely change. So you have to adapt to these changes. Like I said, it's a process. It's a journey. It's not like a one-time thing. Starts with the chasing. You won the chase. Then that's where the real journey happens, and you have to accept those instances where and we adapt and then evolve at the same time. So for me um, the common denominator that I would probably say is we have this, and I think you're familiar with the language of love. And I think that one nice thing about it, there are only 5 languages anyway, because you get to update it at that at that certain moment in time. When you get married, you have the premarital, questions, and then that there's a big part where the physical touches would equate more than anything else, like the gift, the affection, and everything. And then at this point in time, then that language of love changes. So there's this affirmation, and then the gift giving and everything. So like, if you don't need necessarily to go through that form, or the actual exercise, but you kind of sense, right, that like in my case, that affirmation thing is kind of like important at this stage in life, because and then she provides that consolation and everything, and I provide also that kind of, because as you grow a little bit longer, there's less physical, but there's more kind of like emotional support. You kind of like compartmentalize. You go into the community life. You join an organization where you can share your spirituality and everything.
Mm.
So it's kind of like a whole gamut of yourselves, kind of like bonding all together. And I think that's the reason why I decided to marry her, to marry my wife. It's because of that. I sense that that you complete me kind of thing. There's this there's that missing part of me, that kind of like we finish our sandwiches together, that kind of thing. So I think it's that spark still remains there. So we still hug each other. There we do hanky panky stuff. We kind of share lovey-doveys. So we don't we don't take that out of the overall equation. So I think we started like that. We're kind of like we're like kids. Even at this age, at this point in time, we still find ourselves like kids when we greet each other and everything. So I think maintaining that and being able to be sensible about what the needs of that I would kind of like extend to her, and I would what I would want her to extend to me. So we kind of like have that, I would say, chemistry or bond. So I think that's where everything else falls. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you, Art. Okay, what about the others? Jay and Josel, what have you got to
Okay,
say
I'll
about
go
this?
first, Jay.
Go ahead.
Mine was really fast.
Mhm,
The timeline was a year. I was just looking at her. I was making legal tingin. And
mhm.
after a year, I decided, yeah, I'm gonna come up to her and have a conversation with her.
Yeah.
Then 1 month after the dating, I asked her to marry me. It was that fast.
Wow.
But here's the thing.
Wow.
I always want to say this, that when you stop searching or when you stop fussing about these things, that's when all it's like the clouds parting. You see the sky very clearly, and you
Mhm,
realize that if it's effortless and you don't
Mm,
get nervous. When I proposed,
mm,
I was not nervous at all. Of course, there's a bit
mm,
of nervousness there, but
mhm,
went down on one knee, and it was so natural.
mm,
And before that, I was thinking to myself, it's not about what I know about her now or what I know about her past. It's not about that. It's what I look forward to
mm,
several years from now. You
mhm.
know the saying
Yeah.
when they say, when you're old and gray, at the end of the day, when you're old and gray, what will matter most are the conversations.
Mhm,
And I know these conversations will be awesome, even if I'm old and senile. And true enough, after I proposed, she told me several stories. And several weeks or months before our wedding, she said, "You know what?" And she's going to listen to this. And you know what? She said, "You know what? A year ago, I was uh, praying to Saint Joseph in a church in Makati in San Antonio. And I'm a
mhm,
Joseph by derivative of my name. Josel is Jose.
mhm.
And my second name is Antonio." So she
It's a
told me that,
sign.
and I was, am I heaven sent? And then she said, maybe. I sure hope you are. And I think that's what our conversations will be like, as
Mm,
as as light and as fulfilling as those. And to think that we have three minions. These three minions give us, uh, we have our hands full with them,
mhm,
and we are having so much fun. And again, this is what I was thinking before I proposed. This is what I'm going to look forward to. Not because I know her past, I know what she's like,
mhm,
and what I know what she is now. It's really about now, the
mhm.
here and the now.
Yeah.
I hope I'm making
Nice.
sense.
No, yes,
yes,
There.
yes.
definitely. Very nice. Nakakaano, it's so, I don't know, how do you feel, Lavi?
Inspiring. Actually,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know
I was
what?
gonna say that.
Yeah,
It's very inspiring.
inspiring.
Yeah.
Giselle, if I may share to the group, no, Rovi told me that story.
Mm.
Rovi is a good friend of mine. So Rovi told me that story that she actually prayed. And she was very specific with her prayers. And she told me,
Mhm,
Giselle, about that story that she
Mm.
would frequent San Antonio in Forbes. And then she would, she would do the rounds in
wow.
all these churches.
Mhm,
And
Yeah.
really, she was very specific on, on asking for a partner in life. And then, lo and behold, a Giselle Gaston uh,
came to her
came in
life.
in her life. It was just, it was just the right timing. So that's what also Rovi told me,
Yeah.
that you should also include it, because Rovi is a very spiritual person. So she told me that, no, that you should
Okay.
also pray for it. You should also pray
Mhm,
for the partner in life,
And
because hope.
yeah.
Yeah, go
And I
ahead.
always joked about what her name is going to be, because it's going to be Rovi Grande Gaston. Grande in Spanish, translated to English,
Big.
is big, right?
mhm.
And
Yeah.
Gaston is loosely translated as big spender. So big spender.
Gastos,
And the
Gastos.
second
Gastos.
and
Big
the second joke
spender.
was that her name is a combination of her father and mother, Rovi,
Mm.
Romeo, and Virginia.
Mhm,
While I said, buti na lang hindi ganun ang pinangalan sa akin ng tatay ko at nanay ko. Kasi tatay ko, Jose. Ang nanay
mhm.
ko, Rosalina. Magiging Jolina ako. We laughed about that. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Selena. Okay. All right. Thank you, Jocel. Jay, what about you?
Before you,
Are you
see
sure
Jay,
wanna
I
hear?
want to say Jay is also a sort of a cousin of mine
Yeah.
because
Mm.
Yes,
Jay
my
Really?
is a
wife.
distant
Mm,
cousin of mine who's a Gaston also.
Yeah.
okay. What a small
So
world.
my wife's grandma is a Gaston, so they're
Yeah,
somehow related.
that's
So
right.
that makes us related.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in any case, my story was pretty fast as well. We were I discovered that sparks were flying in October, and by December I had proposed, and
Wow.
by April we were married. So that's what 6 months.
Hmm.
And the strangest thing is, I was not the marrying type before I met my wife.
Mhm.
Because I was enjoying my life. That's another story. In any case, I enjoyed my life quite a bit. But then you see this person, and that you trust more than anything.
Mhm.
You
Wow.
trust not just about the honesty and all that, but you trust that she has the qualities that will make for a very good future for you and her both, not just
Mm.
for me, but for her too. And
Mm.
I figured, you know, I might as well take the risk here. Not to mention that she pressured. I mean, she's so confident that she says, her friends, what are your intentions? Because if you have nothing at all, you can just walk out the door. I mean, that takes
Mhm.
confidence, right?
True.
I mean, dangerous though, because I could have just walked out the door. But, I found a person that I could trust will give me and her life that will be full of meaning, with kids,
Mhm.
family life, experiences.
Mhm.
And I guess, like any marriage, there are many things that are, hurdles to jump over. But like I said, I trust that there is something about this woman that I can trust that she will be with me along all the way, all throughout
Mhm.
the journey. And it's a feeling. You can't really quantify that.
Mhm.
You can't put it in a formula. It says that okay, this equates to trust. She has this check, check, check. But in the end, it's that feeling of trust and security
Mhm.
that made me want to take that added step. And how is it
Wow.
like? Like I said, it's lots of hurdles, but I think if you trust that person to take that journey with you, that commitment, I guess, trust, it's well worth it.
Mhm.
We argue quite a bit, believe me, especially about food. But about how to do this or that, and it's give and take.
Yeah.
I can't always be right, although I'm always right. No, I'm kidding. But sometimes you just gotta give in, otherwise it's not gonna work. You know,
Mhm. True.
diba? Ganun naman talaga. Happy, what was it, Giselle? Happy wife?
Happy
What was
wife,
that?
Happy
happy
wife,
life.
happy
Happy
life.
life.
Yeah.
You
Wow,
have to
that's
give in sometimes. You have to
Yep.
give in.
Yeah.
I like what you said when that you found somebody whom you can really trust and feel secure with. And this is rare also, right? I mean, you
Yeah,
meet a lot
definitely.
of good friends, but they're only in that zone, really just friends. But really for you to be open 100%, that's quite special. So that's great. Wow, thanks for sharing, Jay. We've been chatting for like an hour and a half already. Can you imagine?
Wow.
We can go on and on and on and on.
We need is a glass of wine.
I know exactly. Next time we'll have to have a glass of wine. And I think what just to quickly make a comment before I pass this on to Lavi. I think these things that you guys are sharing actually transcend logic, right? You can't really analyze. You can't be too analytical about choosing the partner, the right partner for you. Maybe you can have a checklist, yes, but when you're actually there, as what our three guests shared tonight, it really is just about the whole, the heart, the experience, I suppose the spirit even, right? So there's that spiritual connection, I suppose. So it's not just intellectual connection, but also emotional and spiritual, right? So Lavi, I suppose my question to you, and maybe my last question to you is, what's your big message to all the alpha females out there who are probably in the same position as, well, I'm different because I was already married before. Okay, right there. Okay, I just blurted it out. Okay, but I was married before, and of course,
Been there, done that.
I think my ex is still watching, right? So, yeah. So, but Lavi has been single all her life. So, Lavi, do you have a message to all the women out there who've never been married and they're alpha females?
I'd like to go back to what Art mentioned earlier, that it's important for us to be authentic. It's important for us to be true to ourselves, because I truly believe that you cannot put up a facade, just to, I don't know, just to get someone. You have to be true to yourself. You have to believe in your purpose. And you just have to, live life to the fullest. I like what I said. I always make sure that I pursue my passion, that I live a life of relevance and significance. It's not that, I'm limiting myself to a lot to opportunities. On the contrary, I'm so out there. My passion is social civic work. I'm all over the place. My passion is in training. It should not be a showstopper. My mantra is, I will never compromise. To be the best version of myself, just for for someone to level with me, because I think I will be shortchanging myself if I would do something differently. So if it's meant to be, if I'm meant to be with that someone or with that special someone, then it's meant to be. But ladies, to the alpha females out there, you know what, we should be very grateful. Actually, we should be very grateful that we are given this privilege and that we are given this gift to discover life in its full glory on our own. So as long as we are grounded on our passion and our purpose, we should be fine. And this is this is my thinking. If there is someone that would come along the way, then welcome to my life. But like what the gentleman said, it really has to be a partnership. I agree with Joselle. I have to have a very interesting and engaging conversation with him. I don't want to be bored to death with this, with this person, but there has to be quality conversation. I agree with Jay said, that there's this when you put yourself, or where you engage yourself in a relationship, you don't lose your individuality, but rather you bring in your individuality in the relationship, because that's what makes the partnership, I guess, unique and interesting. So so to all the ladies out there, just continue living our life to the fullest, and who knows, like what Tinette said, we just might be sitting next to someone who might be our Mr. Right. But for the meantime, let's enjoy life to the fullest. And to you gentlemen out there, seize the moment. Yes.
In fact, Lavi,
No,
Elma,
because you have to take that baby step, as what this gentleman said, because we're not scary. Hello, we're human beings. Okay, so but it's just that you really have to also get to know us. There's also that other facet in our lives that we'd love to share with you. It's just that it has to be give and take. Of course, we're willing to make that step, but hopefully you will also make that step, so that we will be closer to each other. So I hope that would be a message, an encouraging message.
But Lavi, there's
To all
one
the
question
men.
for you. There's one
Oh,
question for
really?
you.
Okay, go.
Yeah. He says, would it be okay for you to have a 22-year-old boyfriend?
Bigla akong natawa.
22.
22-year-old boyfriend. Okay, that's
Age.
tricky. age, like what I said, emotional maturity. I don't know.
Mhm.
No, it's going to be because when you talk about emotional maturity, this is my opinion.
Mhm.
It has nothing to do with age. You know, I've met people who are in their 50s and who are in their 60s, and the way that they behave and they think is like a 16-year-old. At the
Mhm.
same time, you know, I've met a lot of people who are in their 20s, you know, very young, but their thinking is really wow. Where did you get that? You know,
Very
old soul.
mature.
So I think it's not really so much with the age, but it's really more of again, I'll summarize what the gentleman said. It's really all about the compatibility and the synergy.
Mhm.
Okay, so but yeah,
Nice.
at this point, yes, no, I don't think it would be an issue. It's really more of that. It's really more of the compatibility
Wow. Right.
with this
Okay.
Yeah,
person.
that I agree. Sometimes, like
Yeah.
myself, I'm 22 years old with 49 years experience. So there's,
I know, right? I know,
Yeah.
Giselle.
diba? Get on, Lavi.
Yeah, I know. I
That's
get that.
true. Okay, and one last comment from Elma from Singapore. She says, I'm watching because I want to learn how to catch Mr. Right. Oh, gosh. Parang
Be
dating, ano.
yourself.
You
That's a good
dance with
question.
Mr. Right. Don't
Dance
catch
with
him.
Mr.
You
Right,
dance
Elma.
with
So
Mr.
watching
Right.
from
I think,
Singapore.
yeah,
Mhm.
maybe just a quick tip. Be Miss Right, and Mr. Right will come
Ah,
in.
right.
So,
Will show
you have to
up.
find your identity.
Yeah.
Look for that vulnerability. Because I know, alpha females, they're firm. I mean, if I just look at my wife myself,
Mm-hmm.
she's like that. What can I do? But I look at that part of her, or that
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable. It's not a vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, like you, Lavi, be a little bit vulnerable. I mean, don't always show your wall, your
Yeah,
shield.
yeah,
Wow, I
yeah,
Sometimes
like
open it
this
up a little bit,
practical
get
tips
a little
na
bit of
game.
uh, get a
yeah.
little bit of pick. So there's, if
Mm-hmm.
you did training, somebody text you,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like we guys were mentioning, maybe you can, don't shut off. You make it part of, kind of like, you have to a bit change
Mm-hmm.
yourself in a social way, in that, because you have to not contradict, because you're looking for a partner but you're contradicting yourself
Mm,
because you're putting walls there. So you
You
look
have
Mm-hmm.
to
for that
be
little bit of
emotionally available.
correct, yes,
Yan,
that's the
galing.
nice term there.
Nice.
I
So
like
if you
Emotionally
that.
want
available. I like
Emotionally
that.
available.
Emotionally
to find
available.
Mr.
Mm,
Right,
that's
be Miss
true.
Right.
Be Miss
Yeah.
Right. So be Miss Right, be emotionally available. What else? Break down those barriers and don't be
Be
too
vulnerable.
be
It's
Be
vulnerable. Okay.
vulnerable.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have to make time. You have to give time.
Make time. Wow. We could, guys, we can write a book about this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, of
Why
course.
not? Let's
Okay.
do it.
I want to
Okay.
add one more thing. I would
Yes,
say
Russell.
to the ladies who are looking for Mr. Right, I would say to be interesting, you must be interested. You must
Mhm.
show that interest
Yeah.
with Mr. Right.
Mhm.
And I have a tip for you. Mr. Right is always deep inside the little boy that he was.
Mm.
Yes,
Ego is always there. My
Mm.
wife
that's
sometimes
true.
would pat me on the head and say, good boy," and I would wag my tail. I'd be happy wagging my tail. Don't lose that. Come on, Jay, Art, you know that, diba?
Yeah.
Exactly. We're
Okay,
vulnerable,
wow.
actually.
Right.
Right. Wow, thank you so much, guys. And I guess I don't want to take so much of your time already because we've been here for 90 minutes already, but I really want to have a part two for this one. I mean, if you guys are still, okay with it, and then we can continue writing that book, maybe. Lavi, Lavi
Yeah,
will be
yeah.
on the cover, right?
Well,
So, so
With some
Lavi,
wine next time, Jeanette.
we'll have some
We'll have
wine. Yes,
Yep.
definitely. So again,
Easy.
I really would love to stay longer, but I'm sensitive of your time. Art, thank you so much for sharing. Jocel,
My
thank you for
pleasure.
your
Thank
global
you.
perspective. And Jay, thank you for sharing this thing about
my
trust. I
pleasure.
mean, it was really, really good. And Lavi, of course, thank you so much for being our rose, among the thorns in this episode. So, again, to all my friends and family who are watching, thank you so much for joining us. There were a lot of questions. A lot of them were sending me PMs, but their questions are so, kayo talaga ha, mga kaibigan ko. They were sending me funny questions, and I'm going to
Send
answer
you
them
what?
privately. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And again, to my friends, to my new friends, and of course, Lavi, thank you so much. Have a great evening, everyone. And
Thank you.
shall we stay on Zoom for a while after I stop live, if that's okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Bye, everyone. Good night.
Bye, everyone. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Stay safe, everyone.
evening.
Thank you.
Bye.